Okay, we've got two functions. We've got an f of x, we've got a g of x, we've got their domains. We've got to start out by getting the range of f. Okay, the range of a function, unless it's an inverse function, you're best off thinking about the graph. So the domain is the x's you can put in, the range of the possible y's you can get out. So consider a sketch graph of x cubed and think what the possible y's are. When you describe a range, make sure you don't talk about x, talk about f of x being a particular set of values. Then in part B, we've got to get fg of x re-entry point. You don't have to have done part A. fg of x means f brackets g of x. So that's your starting point. You insert your g of x into those brackets, and then you consider what that looks like after it's had f of x done on top. This is in your notes in chapter, which chapter is it? 3. And then you've got to solve the equation fg of x equals 64. So you take the expression, you equate it to 64. Always watch out, don't know if it happens on this question, maybe it doesn't, but look out for multiple solutions, there may be more than one answer, be very careful. Then in part C, dotty 1, the inverse function of g is g inverse, and we've got to find that. This is another re-entry point. Here's g of x, look up in your notes the standard method. You start with y equals 1 over x minus 3, which is what g of x does, and the method involves, for the inverse function, at some stage you're going to interchange x and y. But as I say, go back to chapter 3 and look at your notes. You've got tons of examples of that. Okay? Make sure you finish by saying g inverse of x equals something. You may have got y equals something else. You have to actually write down g inverse of x is the answer, otherwise you're risking losing a mark. And then to get the range of g inverse function, okay, here we've got g, we've got its domain, we now want the range of its inverse. As you go from a function to its inverse, x's and y's swap. So range and domain swaps, so effectively all you need for the range of g inverse is the domain of g, but once again you must not express it using x, you must talk about what values g inverse of x can or can't take.